Okay, this second test this morning. See what this is like. The game audio was pretty loud, so I've turned those levels down in OBS, so hopefully it's a bit more balanced now. Here's the really other annoying thing about this game, is that you load it up and somehow the mouse has gone out of window, even though I can see it and clicking on fly, nothing's happening. So you've got to take your headset off and then Alt-Tab and then choose DCS again on the desktop, then put your headset back on. Super annoying. Yeah, and now it works, but when you do that, you got to reset the view because now I'm too high in the seat. Oh, hey. Why's this game got to be so damn finicky? Alright, reset the view. Check the jet setup. Okay, so we're in the jet, and as you can see, all the panels and everything. I've set a zoom view up like that, so it will be whoop. You can see all the buttons, they're all clickable. They all do stuff. And I'm desperately trying to remember it all. I haven't tried a ramp start, i.e. starting the jet from cold yet, but I need to get back into that. Yeah, got to say the graphics are very, very smooth with the new video card. I just recently got a RTX 3090, so that's working really well. Happy about that. Right, so the first thing to do is to put the nose wheel steering on, which is in this little black box here. I'm just going to click it on now, and you see AR nose wheel steering. That means that the nose wheel on the jet will turn very easily and quickly and enable you to turn tightly with no airflow going over the rudder. That's basically it. But when you're going down the runway and the rudder starts getting authority, i.e. starts to become usable, you need to turn nose wheel steering off, because any movements on the rudder, you'll you'll lose control of the jet quite easily. So right, let's put a little bit of power on. So I'm not putting much rudder on there at all, and we're getting a lot of turn. I'm trying to remember how to get the, is it 6 and enter? To get ground speed? No. Desperately trying to remember how to get the ground speed. No, that's not it. Is it list? Six. Yeah, list and 6. Now you can see GS there. That will show my ground speed. So you shouldn't really exceed, I forget what it is, I think it's about 30 miles an hour, something like that. I can't really remember. But we keep an eye on the ground speed to make sure we're not going too fast. Whoop. We're now going too fast officially. And I can't find the brakes on the keyboard. Trying to use the keyboard with the headset on is an absolute nightmare. Oh, I found the rudder again. I have got a set of rudder pedals, but I've got this rig set up for sim driving. So I've got my sim driving pedals and they're kind of in the way, so I really don't know how I'm going to get around this. And you only really use the rudder in the f16 when you're taking off and taxiing, so... And the other thing is the FPS counter is not working properly. You can't read it. Look at that. It's just a little thin line. It's there, it's working, but you can't read it. And I don't know how to expand it. You can't click on it. Very bizarre. So we're just taxiing out to the main runway now. It's terrible taxiing, to be honest, but when you're working blind with a keyboard on your lap, it's not the one really. See a couple of F16s getting ready for takeoff there. There she goes. Nice. Hopefully the game sounds more balanced now. I've turned it down a bit. My ground speed's 25, that's not too bad. A little bit fast to make a turn, to be honest. Oh, I found the brake. You see the nose dropping there. And I've lost the rudder again. There she is. Let's try and line her up. Alright, here we go. No, that's not the brake. That's not the brake. Damn it. Alright. Right, the rudder's working now. Turn nose wheel steering off. Should be able to get a good takeoff here. Alright, let's get the undercarriage up. There she goes. And we're up. Well, 5 degree nose up climb at the moment. About 400 knots and 5 or 10 degrees nose up is good. We've got a nice view of the ocean. Alright, let's go back on the ICP and get rid of the ground speed. And put our next steer point in, steer point 2. Now you see that tadpole thing, the little round circle with the long line, that's cueing me to turn left, steer point 2. So we'll follow that round. There we go. The tadpole's now pointing up in the air straight away, so we've got everything lined up and we're heading straight to steer point 2 now. Might have to trim the aircraft out a little bit. It seems to be doing okay at the moment. We haven't got any afterburner on, we're just on full military power. There she is. Alright, so we're currently 48 miles from steer point 2, or 47. You see the bottom right corner of the heads up display 046 and the arrow and 002. That's 46 miles from steer point 2. We're at 5,100 feet at the moment, real altitude, and we're doing 572 knots. That's speed on the left hand side. Make a small variation to line up again. There we go, straight for steer point 2. There's a runway down there to our left. You can see with the, oh, we've got a little bit of afterburner on. That thing that's got NOS-POS, that's nozzle position for the afterburner nozzle. It's at 0 at the moment, so there's no afterburner, which really drinks the fuel, to be honest. There's a fuel counter there. We've got 10,600 pounds of fuel. We're 34 miles from steer point 2, 33. There's an AN-26 down there on the runway getting ready to take off. So these two displays here, they're called MFDs, multifunctional displays. One on the left, one on the right. There's an aircraft ahead. And you see I'm moving that cursor. If I put the cursor on there, and I think it's is it DMS up or TMS up? No. It's DMS up. I've just locked him up there. And he tells me a bunch of information about him. His aspect angle, his altitude, that sort of stuff. Shouldn't really lock him up, so DMS down to unlock him. Right, we're 15 miles from steer 2. We're going to take a detour left here to the mountains. So it look a bit more fun than just flat flying out to the steer point. Trying to keep it a nice level turn here. Okay, just roll out here. Nice and smooth. Oh, I've let my hand creep up and open up the afterburner, which isn't good for fuel. So we'll keep it 100% military. Now this button, A low, is sets you how low you can go before your warning system goes up. At the moment it's 500 feet. So we changed that to 50. We've now got a floor limit of 50 foot before it will go off. And return that ICP back to, always hit the return, it's called a dobber, the return dobber, and that gets you back to the main screen. It's a very simple 1970s computer program, really. Oh, I've got some nice interesting mountains here. Little communities down there, tucked away. Stunning views, I have to say. We should set it off going over this ridge because we'll go below 50 probably. Yeah, I should have gone off then. I know it's 50 foot, isn't it? Yeah. It's got to be more fun than the Mac loop, no? About 5 G's there. The G meter is on the bottom left of the heads-up display, just above the word where it says nav, and that will record the highest G's that you've pulled, and the number at the top of the speed thing, it's got 1 at the moment. It's seeming starting to pull the G's, it's coming up 3, 4. Now if I exceed 5.4, that number at the bottom left will change to show the maximum G's I've pulled during the flight. And we pulled 7.3 on that manoeuvre. Alright. Let's put the afterburner on and get some speed going here and really start yanking this jet around till we get up to 9 Gs. You can see the speed's rapidly increasing there, 620.
Altitude. Pull up.
Oh, now we're starting to cook. There we go, there's our 9 Gs. 9.6 we've pulled, nearly blacking out. But the fuel, we are burning it. Let's come out of burner. We're down to 5,000 pounds. Nice little river down there. And pylons, obviously we don't want to go near those. Look, you see the power station, how cool is that?
Altitude.
Alright, well that's enough dogging through the mountains, so let's get back to steer point 1. So we see we're steer point 2 at the moment. I'll change this on the ICP and see it's changed back to steer point 1. Look where my tadpole is, telling me to turn to the right. We're 62 miles from steer point 1 is where we took off from. So if you follow this tadpole round, there we go. You can also see a diamond in the sky. That's been superimposed there by the jet. That's the kind of position where it is. Right, we got just going under £4,000 of fuel, so we can probably afford to waste a little bit of burner. Speed things up a touch. Just practicing locking up these targets. There we go. Got them in Twiz mode there, so I should be able to lock two of them up at the same time. Stands for track while scan. And the one with the circle round it is the primary, and the one with the square around it is the secondary, but it will track both of those. And you can fire on both quite easily. So if you've got multiple bandits in front of you, track while scan is definitely the way to go. Right, we're down to £2,000, so I better come out of afterburner. There's the nozzle position coming down to 0. There we go. Bingo fuel, we're down to £2,000. Now the bingo is just letting me know, it's a bit like your car coming up with a low fuel light. Doesn't mean you're going to run out immediately, but it's to let you know that, hey, you want to think about getting some fuel in soon, or landing in the case of the jet. If there was a tanker up in the air, obviously you got the option for air-to-air refuelling, which is probably one of the most difficult things to do in the jet. It takes quite a level of precision on the throttle and stick. I'm trying to remember how to call up the tower, but can't remember. Not that I'll be able to see anyway on the keyboard. So many switches to remember. Oh, I do remember that one. There's a helmet mounted thing. That should, in theory, if I turn it right up. Yeah, if you can see now, that's now giving me a view of my helmet of what's replicated on the HUD there. Really handy if you're dogfighting. You can, obviously you don't have to keep looking at the front to see your altitude if you're doing low level stuff. Really handy thing to have. Right, down to £1,400. 16 miles from steer point. Once, that's not a major problem. I'll start cutting down on the speed now. Start getting the jet configured for landing. Now the landings I've noticed, I don't know because it's been an update, but when the jet gets below about 180 knots, it really becomes difficult to control. It's really lumpy, and got to put a lot of throttle inputs to try and get the angle of attack right. The landings seem more difficult in this update than they used to be. I don't know if that's just me or not. This full fuel flow meter, that shows you how much fuel you're burning. I think it's per minute or per hour, is it? I'm not sure. But if I was to put it up to afterburner, look at it jump up. It's just crazy. The afterburner, like, literally is burning fuel at a great rate. I'm not sure the orientation of the runway, so I'm going to take a left offset here. Bit too far away to zoom in and see. But the speed's coming down nice now. We're just coming through 300 knots. We're down to about 4,000 feet.
Altitude. Altitude.
There's an F5 there. It's taking off. Well, it looks like the runway should be just parked behind here. So we'll have a little... So if I knew how to contact the tower, I'd be able to get vectors and stuff and line up a bit better. So I'll just have to eyeball this one. Let's zoom in on this map here. Well, according to my calculations, the runway should be down in there somewhere, I think. I can't see a runway. Oh, let's follow the tadpole and see whether that takes us there. I'm sure we took off from steer point 1. It's basically saying the runway's there, 5 miles away. Let's see if it is. Me no see no runway. As I say, it's been over a year since I've flown this jet, so I'm still relearning quite a lot of stuff. I'm sure this is the place we passed before, and I couldn't see a runway here. Well, no runway here. It's supposed to be just about here, and there's no sign of it. Well, that's annoying. Down to £1,100 of fuel, which is not good, not a lot of fuel. And there's definitely no runway here. Right, is it steer 0.6? Now I can see an aircraft at 0 feet, so my guess is that is the runway, which is steer 0.6. Let's have a little look. That's my next best guess to go there. Yeah, you can see there's an aircraft at 0 feet, which means it's on the ground, so I'm thinking that's got to be the runway, right? I hope it is, because I'm going to be out of fuel soon. And these instruments here are just the old-fashioned instruments to back up what's on the heads-up display. So 2,600 feet, and we're doing 375-ish knots. And a knot apparently is faster than miles per hour. So that's why when you see the jet getting up to 600 odd knots, it's actually going speed of sound. I think knot is a nautical term. Alrighty, we're 13 miles from steer 0.6. Just flying down the coast here. I think the key press for tower is T, but I can't see my keyboard, and I can't remember where the T key is without pressing loads and fudging things up. I think we took off over the ocean, so let's take a left offset here. Give ourselves enough time to turn for finals. Alright, so let's get down to about 1,000 feet. Get the speed back. Is that it there? That looks like a runway to me. Oh, so we're just about 1,000 feet off the ground. Getting the master caution, we're down to £800 of fuel, which is hardly anything. Like I say, it's a fair chance going to run off the end of the runway because I don't know where the brakes are. Got 3 greens. Just using the throttle to control descent rate. Oh, oh, look at that. I engaged nose wheel steering and had the rudder on. There you go. It was a kind of landing. I didn't walk away from it though. Right, let's quit the desktop and end the flight.